Hi, this is Sonja from Panzerchrist, and you are listening to the Dan Chan Show.
So I'm joined by Danish death metalist Panzerchrist. Well, one member, it's Sonja, the vocalist. How are you doing this evening?
Hello, so good to be here.
Awesome. Welcome to the show. You're over in Denmark, and I love Denmark, and I'm sure it's getting really Christmassy this time of year, right?
I'm doing my best to avoid that.
Are you? Really? Not a holiday person?
Well, yeah, holidays, but not so much the Christmassy stuff.
Oh, I agree. I know what you mean. I'm with you on that. I agree with that. I like Christmas just for you have to switch off and just close down and have a drink. Yeah. That's what I enjoy it for. I'm not running down to the church or anything.
No, and like all the gifts and stuff, except from music, of course, and t-shirts.
Of course, you gotta get your Panzerchrist gifts in, right?
Yes.
So the main reason you're here is to discuss the brand new album, which is about when this interview's out, it'll be like 2 weeks old. The album is called Maleficium Part 1. Congrats on the album. I'm really liking it, by the way. It rips. It's really cool. I'm really enjoying it. How's the reaction been so far?
Very good. And I mean, I'm really proud of this album. So I was hoping for this kind of reaction, that other people would like it too. But it seems there's always like, because Panzerchrist is an acquired taste within an acquired taste. So like, if it doesn't land on the right table, then there will be someone saying, oh, this is a bit too much. But like, the right people really enjoy it. And we've had really nice reviews.
But I mean, you're always going to land it on in the right ears, aren't you? No one's going to come on. I mean,
like metal is a broad genre, right? So if you have someone viewing metal, then like it can be a Slipknot fan, and
of course
that will be a bit off.
I take it. I take your point of view. Now, Sonja, this is your second album with Panzerchrist, right? Is that right?
And an EP, yeah.
And an EP. So. Yeah. How has this album differed from last year's Last of a Kind? It's like the album's 18 months old now. What's the evolution between that album and this album?
I love this question. Yeah, thank you so much. So Last of a Kind, the first album I was on, was sort of, I wouldn't say narrow, but it had a very sort of distinct sound. And all the lyrics were focused on this one case of a witch trial from Denmark. So all the songs were different stories from that.
Yeah.
So and the sound was like very specific in a way, very sort of straight blackened death metal. Yeah. And this album and the next one that you will get to hear next year. Right. Because there's obviously a part two.
I gathered that. That was one of my questions, but I think you've answered
it. Being a tease, yeah. But so this is way broader. There's way more influences from like there's a bit of thrash, not so much, but like way more death metal. So we have these shifts from a blackened sound to a more old school death metal sound.
Yeah, definitely.
That room service kind of sound. And then also like a doomy piece and greater variety in the tempo, and we've got an awesome new drummer, which is really a beautiful addition to what we do. And he also added like his touch to something. So sort of, I really feel that it has lifted and it's broadened out. Yeah,
love it.
So an even better album than last.
Yeah, because it was a quick turnaround. I mean, it was last July that came out, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got only less than probably 18 months from album to album. Why so quick? Were you desperate to get you had some great songs that had to be released and you had to get them out?
No, well, the whole story, I think, is that Michael Enevoldsen, who is the main person in Panzerchrist, like it's his project, and he sort of gets people in when he has music. Right. He had been on a what's called in English hiatus.
Yeah, definitely. I know hiatus. Yeah.
For 10 years and doing other stuff. And then I think the story is his Xbox broke, so he started writing Last of a Kind, and as soon as he started writing, it just like he couldn't stop. So he's been writing all this, and I mean he's relentless with his writing. Like it's such like when he's inspired, he just does the thing. And so it's like it's an outburst of creativity, and
Sure.
that creates these pieces, and then he sends it on to the rest of us. So yeah, it all comes from him to begin with, and it's his process. So
well, that perfectly leads me into a question that's a little bit further down the line, but I'm asking it now. That big hiatus obviously meant that gave you an opportunity to come into that. Broken Xbox has given you a chance, really, right? I mean, come on, his like controller broke or his whatever went wrong, and now you're in a band that's a fantastic band. How did you get into it? What's the history there? And did you know the guys before? Were you a fan? Did you know of them?
Yes. I was a massive fan back 20 years ago. And I mean, I used to sing along to room service in the mirror.
No way.
So like being able to perform Suicide on one of the main stages in Denmark was like, if someone had told me that would happen when I was a teenager.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. How did it happen for you then? How did you get the gig?
My former band was on the same label, and we split up. And Panzerchrist had a different singer on trial that didn't work out.
Right.
And they had already time booked in the studio for Last of a Kind. So they needed one urgently, and it just like clicked. And so I got a phone call from the label saying, "Well, would you be interested in joining Panzerchrist?" And I was like, "Yes,
yeah.
Thank you." So the only issue was that I had to write 10 songs in a little more than a week, and show up with Tue Madsen, who was like, I was a big fan of his work. So it was Mikael and Frederik that I knew as like fangirl, and group that I was also looking up to very much, and I hadn't met any of them before, and showing up with my 10 songs in the studio.
Amazing.
I'm a bit shy and a bit nervous.
Was there no audition then? Was that the audition? Like just bringing your songs
of course, we had like an exchange of, we talked a lot about the songs, so this was a bit exaggerated, but like we hadn't met in person before. Of course, we worked together on the songs. And
amazing.
But it was such a great match, and like we instantly clicked, all of us. And I love working with both Frederik and Mikael, and Tue especially. They're so talented and so good at exactly what they do. So
So really you are looking. I believe I'm right in saying that you're looking after all the lyrics. Is that right?
Yes.
So tell me more about how you approach that. What you're writing about the themes. Obviously you touched upon it just then, but what else is going on, especially with this almost a trilogy, it seems, in like 3 years?
As you know, Panzerchrist used to be about tanks and war and stuff like that. A bit of werewolves, but usually the classical war stuff. But in the 10-year break, Mikael sort of decided that there's enough war in this world, and he wanted to do something else. And this whole idea of like, why do we fear the witches, not the people who accuse them and burn them? And that was sort of the starting point. And so as I said, Last of a Kind was like sort of a very limited storyline. But these 2 albums, the Maleficium has opened up to include more of like the ritualistic side, and like what actually goes on in people's minds and his minds, and the whole societal structure, and a lot of parallels to what's going on today. So at the surface, the stories are about witches and witch trials, but there's also a modern element to it and a deeper story in most of the lyrics.
Yeah. So
also that has opened up a lot.
You've got a broad interest in that as well, right?
Yes, I do actually. I'm a tattoo artist. I work with Norse tattoos. And
I've got a question about that. Carry on though. Carry on.
And I do like witchy rituals around it as well, and include the mythology and the whole energies of that as well. So
oh my god, I love that.
And there's something like, I think we really need this kind of energy in the modern world. Like we've been so focused on growth and like going ahead that we sort of forgot the connection to nature and our spiritual side, which is also a deep part of being human, to like this feeling of something bigger. And so I really like to bring that into to the music as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you
and
feel
we
that
like to like get the whole like I really want to express this anger and frustration and despair and like these big emotions that doesn't have much room in one life as well.
do you write with the listener in mind? You know, do you imagine them listening to your music when your lyrics are like going around their head? Do you imagine what they're thinking?
Yeah, that like on Maleficium, I've tried to make more of like catchy choruses and sort of a more
Yeah,
catchy one to the lyrics.
you
But
can tell.
I, thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
And I also like to tell a good story. And do you remember like when you were a kid and like having all these lyrics on
Of
the
course,
sheet?
of course.
I wanted to bring that back as well, like the
Yeah,
whole. If you not to say anything bad about other bands, but like a lot of bands are just like, oh, the lyrics is sort of a necessity
no, I
and
understand.
a work of art in itself.
Yeah,
And then we've had this long time with sort of molestation and gore
yeah,
that sort of also wanted to move away from. And I think a lot of bands are doing that.
absolutely.
So yeah. So I like the idea of the listener with the lyrics in front of them. And at the same time, I also use the lyric and the vocal expression to sort of express the emotions. So I
Sure,
think that a lot when I write.
absolutely.
So,
One of my favorite tracks on the album, and
mhm.
I think the reason, almost like, I know it's the opener, but Blood Leeches is such a good track, right?
Yeah.
But I love the fact that it's got a fade out, which is so
Yeah,
rare
yeah.
these days. You know, a
We're
fade out.
very daring with that.
Like, oh, the volume's going down. Where are we going here? It's like old school. I love that. That's such a standout track for me. Now, obviously, I talk about you doing your tattooing and stuff like that, because that's one of my next questions on a personal level. You know, do you have a studio? Because I love your style is very specific, and I've got a great space here that I was thinking I need to come and see you for.
Yes,
It's
absolutely. You're
fantastic.
so welcome.
You've got a great style, and can you explain that? And do you have a studio? Would you like to tell the listeners, if they're ever in Denmark or your neck of the woods, or want to have a tattoo tourist holiday, then they come and see you?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be wonderful. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, I have my own studio, very private, actually, in my own house, but like a part of the house. And I focus on making the tattoo into a transformative process so that it's not just a tattoo, but
Yeah,
an anchor of a transformation
that's
so
amazing.
that it becomes a ritual.
Yeah,
And I work with runes a lot and like the sort of
I have
visual language of
I have
emotions.
runes. I
Oh
have
yeah, you
runes.
do
Yeah,
have runes.
yeah, I have some
Yeah,
runes. I have some runes.
lovely.
Yeah,
And I mean that's rooms are all over Europe,
yeah,
and I know that a lot of Americans as well really want to connect to their Nordic heritage, and so I have a lot of American customers as well, and I really enjoy to be able to share this because like
mm,
in Denmark we grew up with the Norse gods and like the
sure.
um and also in the UK, but there's something missing in the US in that
Mm.
perspective. Like we don't have that feeling for what the gods mean and the whole mythology. So I love to be able to transmit that to people from the
It
US.
sounds such a cool idea, making the tattoo, not, as I say, not like a customer thing, like in and out kind of thing,
Yeah,
like an appointment like that, more like a conveyor belt, but more like a, yeah, ritualistic. I like that.
yeah,
I like that a lot.
yeah. I do
So,
too. That's why I had it.
where will anyone find you
Oh
online for
yeah.
that?
I have my studio. It's called Laufisby, but you can find me on Instagram and Facebook as Sonja Tattoo.
Amazing. Easy.
Very simple.
Sonia with a J, yeah,
Yeah.
no problem. Easy.
Um,
Easy, good stuff. So back to the band, show wise, you know, what's happening to back the album up? What's going on there? Do you have some shows lined? I see you've got some shows in your area, like for like February time, but are you spreading out every Europe anyway?
Yeah, so we're doing a big Denmark tour,
Right.
which is not so big because Denmark is not so big, but like the major cities
Sure.
of Denmark over a few months. And we're hoping to go abroad as well. And oh, I would so love to go to the States and play,
Yeah, of
but it's a difficult process.
course.
And we also have to admit that most of us have family and kids, so
Of
going on a
course.
2 months tour is not something that you just do.
No.
So yeah, but if you know anyone who would be interested in booking us, we are very open.
Amazing.
And we would love to play some of the festivals this summer around like Germany and the
Yeah,
UK and
for
France.
sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's a Panzerchrist show like? I mean, obviously it's better now you're in the band. So what's it like? Well, I've never seen you live, so what would I expect?
I would love to think that it's really a place where you can go into your anger and frustration, and this like despair is one of my favorite emotions for the show. Is like as a space for that, and I love to express like not aggression, but like this intense emotion of something deep and something very primordial in a way. And I mean, of course it's fast and very hard hitting, and I mean the rest of the band are awesome musicians, so it's a really well played show, I would like to say, and yeah, intense, and people like I experience the shows from the States, so as a stage, so I'm not sure what the experience is from the other side, but what we usually get is that people say it's like they're blown away by the energy and the intensity of the show.
Sure. So, what's the how do you prepare for a show with those kind of vocals?
Actually, not so much. I usually do a headstand.
Right. Okay.
I don't know.
Pre-show ritual.
Yes, and we have a thing with the brie cheese. I don't know where that came from, but yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, and then we just like I don't know, like if you've never been in a backstage, it's like a mystery space, and
of course,
going on all the like virgins and beers or something. But actually, it's more like a really cozy, familiar atmosphere and
like hygge.
Yeah, hygge, exactly. Yeah, and like hyping each other and really getting into the mood of a group and delivering a show together.
Sure.
We also like to drink beers.
Yeah, of course. Why are you in a band otherwise? I'm sure.
Well, but I am not 22 anymore, so
I know it's always hard for us guys. I know we're getting older. So how do you choose the set list these days? Is it predominantly Sonja era tracks, or do you throw back?
Oh, that is one of the issues because there are so many good songs, and we really loved like 45 minutes are not very long if you have to choose from a catalog of 25 years of music. So yeah, it is actually a very difficult thing, and I think that is one of the things we spent the most time talking about, like which song. So yeah, I would be very interested to have inputs from your listeners as well.
Right. Okay.
If there are any songs that they want, because usually it's a different experience playing them and hearing them.
Sure. Absolutely.
But yeah, we're trying to mix like some of the old stuff, of course, the room service stuff that I really enjoy performing as well, and also Metal Church, the cover song.
Yeah, of course.
So and of course the new stuff. And I like to also for Ove, our new drummer, he needs a break in between all those things. So like to mix the very hard-hitting, heavy, fast stuff with something more calm in between. To get a good mix of
yin and yang, shall we say?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So what do you prefer? Do you prefer as an artist, do you prefer stage or studio? Because you're very creative when it comes to studio with your, crafting your lyrics, but do you thrive on stage? Which one do you prefer out of the two if you had to choose?
That's a very good question. I think I really enjoy both, but they are so different.
Of course.
And I haven't really thought about that. Like, I love writing music, and I also love performing. And you have to do both if you want to do the other. So yeah.
It's a tough one for you. You can leave it. You don't have to answer that. It's
that's a good question. I'll actually
have a think about
that, but I don't have an answer.
If you think about it in the next 5 minutes, shout it out in between them. So let's go back in time a little bit on your personal life with regards to how you got into music. What got you there? How did you start?
Yeah. So when I was 10, I suppose. I got like do you remember those big ghetto blasters? You could
Of
get like
course.
really big
Yeah,
ones
yeah.
with the CD on top and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I saved up by living newspapers or something like that and got this one. And I got like Michael Jackson and I think Take That was big at that time.
Wow. How old are you, Sonja? Can I ask?
I'm 42.
You're 42. Oh yeah, okay. Go on.
And my mom, I was listening to it was that very famous Take That album, and I was listening
From
to
Robbie
that.
Williams to death metal. There you go. There's a journey.
Oh, but he wasn't even like that. Like he was the odd one out. He was not very famous. Yeah. Anyways, my mom came in and she was like, "What is that? You're not listening to that." And then she came back with like Black Sabbath and Deep Purple and something else. And I was like, "Oh, I have to rebel against that." So I started listening to black metal. And for death metal, which is like the old school death metal sound is my thing.
Yeah.
There was like a rehearsal space for teenagers, and one day we were sitting there, and there was this local band playing with the windows open. And I was like, "What is that? That is awesome!" And like that was the Danish death metal sound.
Yeah.
Like in the start 90s, and so many great bands like from Panzerchrist to Ill Disposed and Maceration and yeah, and a lot of the tests as well. A lot of them are actually active again, right?
No.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah. So
who would be on your metal or rock or music Mount Rushmore? So Gary Barlow, maybe one.
No. We all like Mark Owen.
So who would be on your musical influenced Mount Rushmore? Those four faces etched into rock. Who would be your choice?
Yeah. Oh, that's a difficult one. It depends on my mood, actually. I really like, at the moment, I like Bloodbath a lot.
Yeah.
Dying Fetus. Vader is an all-time favorite. I've been listening to a bit of the old Dissection.
Yeah.
Recently, keep coming back to those. And somehow I think I have to say Sepultura, Chaos AD.
Yeah, classic.
And it just has that.
Yes, that raw.
But I mean, bands like D-Side and
of course.
Yeah.
Over to Florida.
Of course, and
yeah. So okay, all that metal. What's the weirdest music we could find in your playlist? Well, you're not even weird.
The weirdest.
Not even something off the wall. I don't know. What do you think? Something like, really? You listen to that? No.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm getting a bit shy now.
Don't be. It's only me and you.
What just popped up was Phantom of the Opera.
Okay, but a musical.
I actually haven't listened to it for a while, but that would be on there. Like that's this theme song. It sort of
has of course it is classic.
Classic. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really have guilty pleasures
because you should never have a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Because mine's Roxette. I'll never say.
Oh yes, I've
never tell anyone that though.
So many metalheads like Roxette.
Oh yeah.
It's so interesting. And
that was almost like a gateway for me. I went from like Eric Clapton to Roxette, and then to like Guns N' Roses, then Metallica, then it got progressively heavier.
I think we're the same age.
I'm still traveling. I'm mid to late 40s, so we're not far.
Yeah.
It's that route, that route of like Kerrang magazine, and black metal and having the Iconus front cover on Kerrang in like 1994. Anyway, so here's a fun question. Not everyone can answer this one, but give me your unpopular musical opinion. It's normally popular with people.
I think, what just comes up is like there's a lot of gatekeeping going on in metal.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, oh, that's not really black metal. But I think I would love that we just like accept that everyone likes different music, and that instead of like standing at the far end of the concert hall and like with arms crossed and try and like it, like try and open up to. You don't have to buy the album. You don't have to but
get into
it. Look at what it is and try and listen to it for what it could give you. and don't judge other people's opinions.
Of course.
I don't know if that's a controversial opinion, but I
No,
really
I
feel
mean,
there's a lot of that at the moment. It's like,
yeah.
oh, I listened to them before they were cool.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that, exactly.
I would love to see that go. We don't really need that. We need community.
Of course. Yeah, exactly. And I think the metal family is the best in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course it is. So, okay, here we go. Describe the band in 3 words.
Oh, these are hard questions.
I don't want to, I'm not, it's not, there's no cash winning prizes here, but he says, whatever you think you can do.
Yeah. Well, that's not really 3 words, but like, as I say, an acquired taste within an acquired taste is my best description.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, definitely extreme. And what's a better word for angry? It's not really anger. It's like
aggressive.
Yeah. Well, it's more like it's the mix of anger and despair.
Angsty.
Yeah, something like that. Like this why feeling.
Yeah, and despair. I like it. I like that.
Yeah.
So, okay, what one track should I play next and why from the new album?
Oh, I like them all. I'm really, really proud of them.
One track.
Oh, can I put more words to that? Blood Leeches, I love that one because it has so many different things going on. Like there is. If you really listen to it, you can hear the influence of so many different bands and like so many different genres. The lyrics I'm most or the vocal presentation I'm most proud of on that album would be Curse of Desire. Like there is a part like towards the end with this awesome melodic riff that gives me the chill every time, and like the lyrics there, like how I weep for my that part. I really, really love that.
I love that. Cool. Well, there's 2 there. I'll bookend it with both those. That's cool. So obviously we're close to the holiday season, Christmas, whatever you want to call it. You're not celebrating too much, but what will your season be like? What will you be doing in a hygge, warm socks, candles, hot chocolate?
If I could choose myself, totally, I would be with my partner and my kids on the couch just watching horror movies, drinking like hot cocoa and and not leaving the house for
so that makes me think that you're not doing that. So what are you doing?
Seeing family and
right.
And I think
you get a chance to do those cozy things though, right? And you can lock the door and say,
we actually do that a lot.
We've done our thing. Yeah, you do it. Right?
But that would be my favorite thing to do. But it's nice to see the family and
of course
and catch up and stuff. Yeah.
Do you get much snow there, or is it just rain?
Not yet, and I don't mind because I haven't got my winter tires on. So.
Oh right, okay, yeah, be careful, yeah. And so finally, I always ask everyone this because you just it's almost like the barometer of people's lives. What is the most used emoji in your phone?
Fire and the arm.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, that's good. That's good. We'll accept that. Well, listen, Sonja, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Good luck with the album. Good luck with the tours, and in general, good luck with 2025.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for having me.